Hi everyone, welcome back to Unfiltered, the podcast where we make international relations make sense. Today, we're focusing on something that's often in the news but not always fully understood: UN peacekeeping missions. These missions are like the UN's on-the-ground efforts to help countries recover from conflict, but there's a lot more going on behind those blue helmets than really meets the eye. Let's start with the basics. What is a peacekeeping mission? In simple terms, it's a way for the United Nations to help countries transition from conflict to stable, lasting peace. Imagine a country that's been through a war, where trust between communities has been shattered, governments are weak, and violence can erupt at any moment. Peacekeeping missions help step in to create stability when supporting political processes, human rights, and development as a whole. Now, these missions aren't exactly random. They're authorized by the UN Security Council, meaning there's international agreement and backing before troops are really deployed. Once approved, the mission is staffed with a combination of troops, police, and civilian personnel from all around the world. That's one of the things that makes UN peacekeeping unique. It's not just one country trying to fix another's problem, it's really global. Every mission also comes with a specific mandate, a set of tasks assigned by the Security Council. Some missions focus on protecting civilians, others monitor ceasefires, support elections, or help rebuild infrastructure. Modern peacekeeping missions are multidimensional, meaning that they don't just deal with security. They tackle political, social, and humanitarian issues as well. The goal isn't just to stop fighting, but to build a foundation for lasting peace. Now let's talk about where these missions actually operate. As of now, there are 11 peacekeeping missions. These include MINUSO in Western Sahara, MINUSCA in the Central African Republic, MONUSCO in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, UNDOF in the Golan Heights, UNFICYP in Cyprus, UNIFIL in Lebanon, UNISFA in Abyei, UNMIK in Kosovo, UNMISS in South Sudan, UNMOGIP in India and Pakistan, and UNTSO in the Middle East. Each of these missions face its own unique challenges, from political tensions to harsh environments. The largest and most high-risk missions are currently in South Sudan and Central African Republic. In these regions, peacekeepers can be attacked at any moment, even while delivering humanitarian aid. It's dangerous work, and it requires a lot of training, commitment, and international coordination. Now you might be wondering, where do these peacekeeping missions get their resources and personnel? The answer is shared responsibility. UN memberships contribute in two main ways: financially and through personnel. Through financially, countries pay compulsory assessments, which fund operations. While personnel-wise, UN peacekeeping doesn't have its own standing army or police force. Instead, member countries voluntarily send troops, police officers, and civilians to join missions. This makes UN peacekeeping a truly global effort. Over 2 million peacekeepers have served from more than 120 countries. Some of the top contributors are Nepal, Rwanda, Bangladesh, and India. And the diversity of these teams isn't just symbolic, it actually improves mission effectiveness because peacekeepers bring different perspectives, experiences, and skills. Speaking of diversity, let's talk about women in peacekeeping, which is increasingly recognized as crucial. The UN actively promotes gender equality in peacekeeping missions, as around 30 to 40% of peacekeeping personnel are women, and their presence makes missions way more effective in several ways. First of all, women peacekeepers often have better access to local communities, especially to women and children. This is vital for understanding community needs, preventing violence, and supporting humanitarian efforts. Second, diverse teams improve decision-making and operations because more perspectives mean smarter solutions. Women peacekeepers also serve as role models, inspiring local women to participate in political and peace processes. In some communities, seeing women in uniform advocating for safety and rights encourages broader societal change. Gender integration helps build trust and confidence with local populations, which is critical for the long-term success of peacekeeping missions. And ultimately, it aligned with the UN core values of equality and non-discrimination. Now, let's touch on the rights and privileges of UN peacekeepers, which is something people often overlook. Peacekeepers operate under international law, which provides certain protections when they carry out their duties. For instance, they have immunity from local prosecution for actions taken in the line of duty, a safeguard designed to allow them to operate effectively in sometimes unstable or hostile environments. They also receive specialized training in conflict resolution, human rights, and humanitarian law. These protections and training are essential because peacekeepers often operate in high-risk conditions, far from home, with local authorities who may not always be fully cooperative. So to recap, UN peacekeeping missions are multifaceted operations that combine security, politics, humanitarian work, and gender inclusion. They rely on global cooperation, both in terms of personnel and funding, and they operate in some of the most challenging environments on Earth, essential for helping countries recover from conflict and build lasting peace. Before we wrap up, here's a quick look at why these missions matter more today. In a world with ongoing conflicts, refugee crises, and political instability, peacekeepers are often the first in line for support of vulnerable communities. By protecting civilians, supporting political processes, and enabling humanitarian aid, they help prevent conflicts from spiraling further. And because the missions are globally supported, they're also a tangible example of international solidarity in action. If you're curious, you can even explore an interactive map of all US peacekeeping operations on the official UN peacekeeping website. It's a great way to see exactly where these missions are happening and understand the scale of their work. Here's a fun little fact to end on. Over 2 million people have served as UN peacekeepers since 1948, making it one of the largest global cooperative efforts in history. That's not just soldiers and police officers. It's doctors, engineers, and human rights officers all working together to make peace a reality. That's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Unfiltered. I hope I gave you a clearer picture of what UN peacekeeping missions are, why they're important, and how global cooperation can actually save lives. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow the podcast and stay updated on our next episode. Thank you so much!